Dr. Joseph Fan, professor at the Department of Finance and School of Accountancy at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, to talk about this issue and much, much more. Professor, thank you for your time today. I guess it's kind of the end of an era, and yet it isn't in a way, isn't it? It's one of the longest successions that we've known of in Hong Kong. Your thoughts on the significance of today?
Yeah, Bernie. It's been a long succession process. Actually, over 30 years ago, the process began. And Li Ka-shing has prepared his successor for several decades already. And today is not even the end of the succession. It's the end stage. So it's interesting to observe in the next 5 years, after Li Ka-shing is truly retired, how the business group will continue. Like the market reaction today has been quite peaceful. Like Emily say, it's already been anticipated, and the succession compared to other business family in Hong Kong and Southeast Asia, it has been a well-prepared one.
Times have changed, haven't they? Because a lot of these successions, you know, the move from the original entrepreneurs, the original, you know, founders of business empires in Hong Kong, a lot of it was in a very different era, in very different business lines. You know, most of it had to do with infrastructure, transport, shipping. You know, I'm thinking of YK Pao, and then of course, you know, the way Peter Wu, his son-in-law, took over. And the vast majority of the families are involved one way or another in property, and yet the structure of the economy is changing. What implications does that have? Are we beginning to see sort of a waning effect of, you know, this issue of dynastic succession?
It's a challenge, Bernie. You have correctly pointed out that Hong Kong has a very narrow commercial base, finance and property development. But the economic and market environment has changed, and it will continue to be increasingly so in the future. So it becomes a question how the next generations of these business families will carry on the success and overcoming the future challenge. And I think most property tycoons and their family have diversified their business one way or another. But whether their children can carry on the relationship, reputation from the previous generation is actually critical to the success of any of this new business.
Right. Professor Fan, please say hi to Emily.
Emily.
Hi, Professor. Now, the board at CK Hutchison and CK Asset is one that was built by Li Ka-shing, or put together, I should say, by Li Ka-shing. Canning Fok is his right-hand man, has been for numbers of years, decades. We got names like Canning Fok, Frank Six, H.L. Kam, who have worked alongside Li Ka-shing. When do you expect Victor Li to bring in some young blood into the board?
I think it'll be... we will closely watch the next 5 years when Victor gradually introduce younger generation of professional manager, in addition to Kenneth Fox and others that have been loyally worked for the business group for the past several decades. The transition is very critical and important, and the staying over of the old generation professional manager is also critical. That will help ensure the smooth transition from the previous to the next generation of professional management that is very, very important to the successor, Victor Li.
Now, we're just waiting for Victor Li to come in because, of course, his first AGM starts at the top of the hour in about 20 minutes from now. But Victor Li is a father of 3 daughters. When do you think that he's going to be starting his succession plan and grooming his children potentially to also take positions within the CK group?
This is an important question. For this kind of family structure, typically Victor Li, his role has already been changed from active management to a guardian of the business family ownership. So he will probably delegate substantial decision-making rights to a robust professional managing group and continuing into his next generations. The 3 daughters and perhaps extended family member will continue to hold shares in trust or directly holding some shares, but most of the management task is going to be delegated to professional managers, and professionalized governance is going to be important.
I'm glad you mentioned that last issue there on professional governance, Joseph, because this has been one of the lingering issues in Hong Kong. I mean, it's a natural phenomenon to want to take a successful family business and involve your children in the fruits of your labor and share it and have them take care of it with the same love and passion with which you built the business. But in Hong Kong, many say that we're falling behind in corporate governance. You know, certain entities like the Bank of East Asia, for instance, have come under fire from activist investors before for not really doing all they can to realize the best shareholder value because a family wants to maintain control even though they're in the minority when it comes to their stake in the company. Is this something that Hong Kong is really, is this a crisis for Hong Kong? Is this a crisis area issue?
This is a dilemma because from public investor perspective, investor want transparency, want accountability. But you know, in Asia, including Hong Kong, our business model has been relationship-based. The value primarily come from reputation of the business owner, connection of the business owners. So it's very hard to be transparent. And certainly, business family can benefit from public traded companies' corporate governance practice, but at the same time, they need to balance the business model. So it's critical for the next generation, losing their parents' connection and reputation, they certainly will benefit from improving their corporate governance from the public investor perspective, but at the same time also benefit from their collaboration with professional managers because professional managers also want transparency and accountability.
Joseph, thank you for your time today. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for joining Emily and me, Joseph Fan from the Chinese University of Hong Kong.